Hi everyone, and welcome to Billy Fitzgerald Golf, and tonight we're going to be talking about compression, or compressing the golf ball at the moment of impact. So when we talk about compression at the moment of impact, I've got a tennis racket here, so it'll make it easier for you to see what's happening, is that if I've got a ball coming at me this way, and I want to compress the ball, basically I want to make this racket, and the shaft of the racket, as sturdy as possible. I do that with lining up my trail arm, for me, my right arm, with the shaft. If it's on top, see the face is pointing down. If it's underneath, it's pointing up. So I want the ball to go out as much as possible. So I need to try to feel like my arm is lining up with the shaft so the ball has the most outward, or it's the most effective or efficient strike that I can have. So we're gonna go through some shots tonight. We're gonna start with a putter, but chipping, pitching, iron, driving, you know, why it's so important. We've all had those lies in the rough where it's a little thick and we make a big swing but the ball doesn't quite come out. That's all about compression. It's all about making sure that your arm is compressing or pressuring the shaft at the moment of the strike. If it's not, then there won't be anything behind the golf ball. So we're going to start out with putting. That's why when I take you through the putting setup, the very first thing that we do is you line up your arm with the shaft. So it all becomes one unit. So as my arm works back and forth, this trail arm can compress the shaft so I get the most out of my golf ball. It can even happen in putting. We've all hit it off the toe or thin. This line of compression leads to my center face hit, so it is a really big deal, and it's important that we practice it at all levels of our game. So we'll hit a few putts here, and we'll go over the putting setup again. So as I put my elbows to my side, I putt left hand low. It doesn't matter if you putt standard or not. Your arms still want to line up with the shaft. Now the reason I like left hand low myself is that the way it places my arm. I do see a lot of people in putting, their right arm gets a little high, so you can see how it's not quite matching up with the shaft. So make sure that check your posture and your putting routine and your putting setup in a mirror to make sure that your arm is lining up with the shaft. The easiest way is to get it right up in front of you. So again, my arm is lining up with the shaft. Now I'm gonna push my hips back and set the putter on the ground. So now when I'm swinging back and forth, see I can feel my right arm pushing and stabilizing the shaft of the putter. So if we get lined up here, so again, we're gonna take it back and I can feel my right arm pushing and pressuring the shaft of the putter. That does a lot for stability of the face. It does a lot for center face hits. And you're gonna make a lot more putts and have a lot more success in all your shots if we line up your arm with the shaft. It's called line of compression. So we've got a lot of shots to go through. Let's get started. Okay, so on to chipping, talking about compression. So again, as I chip, I'm trying to feel how my right arm lines up with the shaft. Now a chip is basically a putt. Our setup's a little different. We've got a little bit of loft here. I'm only trying to fly the golf ball just onto the green. So I'm basically using my chipping motion, and the ball gets in the way. Now if you want to have just one swing thought with chipping, line of compression is a great one. Trying to feel like your right arm, your right hand matches up with the shaft when you hit it. So we'll go through the chipping setup. So again, just right of center. I'm going to take my grip. I'm going to lean left so my chest cavity and my head is left of the ball. Now I'm just simply going to go back and forth like a putt, try to line up my right arm with the shaft and let it swing back and forth. So there's not a lot going on. There's not a lot of wrist. I'm basically just using my putting stroke and lining up my arm just like I did with my putt on the shaft. So again, get ready to go, just right of center. Now I'm going to lean left so the ball's on the downward part of my swing circle. Now I'm just going to putt it and try to line my right arm up with the shaft. So it gives me a lot of stability in what I'm trying to do, line of compression. Okay, now we found ourselves in heavy rough. We can't bump and run it. we have to fly over a trap, land it softly on the green, but we need to make sure that the strike is good. And we've all been here with so many times, the strike doesn't come out quite right. It doesn't feel very solid off the face. You definitely don't feel it compressed, and when we leave it in the bunker, chances are it may even bury there. So we have to make sure that our arm, again, lines up with the shaft so we get the most out of this shot. In other words, so it's predictable. So if I don't know how it's gonna come off the face, then I'm not sure of how hard to swing. So as we start to have a little bit more of swing, as I start to swing back, this is the time where I need to make sure that my right hip gets out of the way a little bit. Now as my right hip gets out of the way, see, now my arm can come back down into the ball. So we're gonna make a few swings. We're gonna set the face open a little bit so there's bounce of the club. The other thing we're gonna do, again, we're gonna make sure that we've set left. So my chest cavity, my head is left of the golf ball. Now as I swing back, my right hip's gonna get out of the way and my arm is gonna line up with the shaft. Right hip out of the way and my right arm is gonna line up with the shaft. So again, to my point, if you watch other videos, that's why I wanna feel like my hand keeps facing the ground. So it's easy to line up my arm. The more my hand twists this way, the harder it is to exactly line up with that line of compression. So again, line of compression is, if you drew a shaft line all the way up, my arm is going all the way through the shaft. So now when we swing, we're gonna feel like your right hip gets out of the way, your palm faces the ground, so you can line up the shaft with your arm now. Go ahead and get ready to go. We're gonna lean left a little bit. My hip socket gets out of the way. So my right arm can line up with the shaft, and I know what I'm gonna get when I hit these shots. Okay, now we've gotten into the full swing. So I've put a shaft line down so you can see how, again, the shaft line is gonna line right up with my arm. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to feel how the arm gets in line with the shaft again, so it pressures the shaft and gives it the most stability. So the first shot I wanna hit, or I would encourage you to hit, is just line up to your golf ball and then go to impact. So at impact, you can see my right arm gets a little lower, it gets right on the side of the shaft, get right into impact. You can see how you can see my left arm, my right arm's underneath my left, and take the club back just a couple feet and try to feel how your right arm lines up with the shaft. You can see how there's a lot of stability to the face and the ball goes straight. Okay, so we feel that for the first time. Now we'll tee another one up and make just a little bit bigger swing. So we're gonna go back here, down the line, maybe waist high, and try to feel how your arm lines up with the shaft. Waist high, arm lines up with the shaft. Get ready to go. Go back waist high, arm lines up with the shaft. Okay, now we're gonna go a little bit further. Now we're gonna make some practice swings. Full motion, but not quite full speed. So we're gonna get back and all the way down. So again, you start to see how my right hip starts to get out of the way. So as my arms come down, my arm can get right in front of me and line up with the shaft. It does me no good to feel my body work towards the golf ball, my hands get here. Now it's a real chore to try to feel that line of compression. That's where I see a lot of people are living at. They're trying to spin their hips too much and their hands go this way, and then in a last ditch effort, their arm gets a little too high trying to line up the shaft of compression. So we're gonna make a little bit fuller swing. So right hip gets out of the way. Now as I swing down, see my right hip still stays out of the way and my arm goes right into the ball. So go ahead and hit one. So real slow, right hip out of the way, line your right arm up with the shaft. Do it one more time. A little bit more speed now. Again, get your right hip out of the way and align your right arm right up with the golf ball. So you're starting to feel the center face hits, the arm line up with the shaft, and you'll be on your way to hitting much better, much cleaner. All right, now we've come to the driver, so we're going to do the same thing that we did with the irons. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to find what it feels like to line your arm up with the shaft at the moment of the strike. So again, if I'm out here, this is what I want to feel. If I'm up, feel my right arm match the shaft right here. I'm not trying to get too high. I'm not trying to get too low. If I felt like I made an error, I'd want to feel like I'm actually a little bit lower. I never want to feel like I'm too high or over the top. So first thing we're going to do is just line up, get set with the driver. I'm just going to take it back just a little ways and try to feel impact. So pretty straight. Now the next one, we're just going to go a little bit farther and try to line it up. So get ready to go. Swing back a little farther and try to line the shaft up. Okay, now we'll take a fuller swing and try to feel where we want to be at impact now. You can start to feel that if I want to work the face down and get the shaft right here, again, does me no good to feel like I'm moving into the golf ball. I want to feel like I keep that area open for my arms. So go a little slower and try to feel right there at impact. Again, so pretty straight. Again, if you had to think of one swing thought, if you get in trouble during the round, this is a great swing thought. Just trying to feel like your arm, you know, there's almost no better swing thought than what happens at the moment of the strike. I mean, as long as we get there at the moment of the strike, we're in pretty good shape. So now we're going to make some more practice swings. And again, trying to feel how my arm lines up with the shaft. So remember, try to line your right up or trail arm up with the shaft as best you can. Try to keep it off the top. If anything, if you're going to err, you want to feel like it's underneath a little bit. I hope this helps you. And if you've heard a few fireworks out here, that's the price of doing business on the 4th of July. Have a good one. Like and subscribe to my channel, Billy Fitzgerald Golf. Want to take a live lesson from me, or you have a question? Visit me at billyfitzgeraldgolf.com. And thanks for watching.